So, good evening, everybody, and thank you. Welcome to Friday Night Rights, where the questions don't matter or the points don't count, or is it the points don't matter and the questions? I don't know, something like that. I don't know. I don't remember that. But anyway, I'm Brian. Samantha is experiencing a weather and lack of power tonight. Evie is not here with us, so it is I, and our guest, uh, Ms. Sara Furlong Burr.
Hello,
How are you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
Okay. Yes. And just an FYI, we if by chance anything happens with the weather, I over by you, let me know, and we'll we can kind of cut it short or whatever, but we'll do the best we can here tonight.
That's fine. Just have to deal with my dogs barking in the background. That's all.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah. My cat is sleeping on the bed behind me. So at least, well, one of
As
them is.
cats do.
Yes. So, and before we begin, just a brief reminder for everybody. I know it's inverted, but we have, I think, 32 pre orders now for See Me As I Am, the Friday Night Rights charity anthology, where, and all of
Nice.
the proceeds are going to the National Alliance on Mental Illness. And this is, you can pre order it now. Uh, we have links somewhere. I mean, if you go to our link tree, there's a link where you can get all the information and you can order it through all the good places. And it's coming out July 1st. So that is the extent of my promotion tonight. We're here for to talk about um, Sara Furlong Burr and everything that she's done and everything she's currently doing. And just an FYI,
I can remember what I'm doing.
what's that?
Anything I can remember that I'm doing, because that's up in the air some days.
Right, right. Well, I know you've written at least four books. I have two of them sitting over here. In fact, I can pull them out. I'm sure you have them here. This is the latest one,
Yeah.
that one, and this is Heart to Heart, which I read
hmm
and I loved it. And we are rehoming a copy of this one tonight. Is that right?
Yes. Yep. A paperback copy.
Nice. And and if you want to have a chance to get that, just drop a heart in the comments. Very simple. So and so what we do, we would just like to begin with just questions about you, and then we can get into your books. So tell us first and foremost, who is Sara Furlong Burr? Tell me a little about you.
Well, obviously I'm an author, but when I'm not writing, I am also a paralegal, and I've been one for, oh, God, like 20 years, which sounds like an insanely long amount of time. But I'm also married. My husband was formerly in the military. He actually just retired last year. And we have two kids, two girls. One of them attends MSU. Another one's in the seventh grade. And that's almost basically me. I'm very busy and I can't sit still and I need to be doing something at all times, which is probably a problem, honestly. But yeah, no, that's pretty much me. I live
Maybe
for my
it's
kids and writing anymore. So
maybe it's a Michigan thing because I know Samantha has that same issue. It's like whenever that she has to do nothing and just chill. She has to do something.
I can't sit still. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's not just, I think it's an ADHD type of thing. But like I don't know what the heck it is. But like yeah, I can't just sit down and watch something. Like I have to be doing something productive as I'm watching something, or I feel like I'm not like I just feel lazy. Even though you're not, because you kind of need that downtime. But yeah, no, I have no idea like what that would even be. Probably ADHD of
That
some sort that I should be medicated not for, but I'm not. So there we are.
uh, I think we can all identify with that. I think some of us have some sort of issue. Whether most people in a creative capacity, you know, are have something.
hmm
But I mean,
Well, when I'm not working on my book, I think I should be working on my book,
oh, I
So
got you.
there's that. like the self-imposed deadlines that we make for ourselves, and that it yeah, there's a lot. We just put a lot on ourselves, and I think, cause a whole bunch of other issues.
Yeah, I understand that. I had to kind of, tell myself, force myself not to do it, this year because it was getting to me, and it was a
Oh
lot of,
yeah,
you know, but
I
now
get that.
now did you always want to be a writer or an author? I mean, what did you think you were going to be when you were a child?
When I was a child, I was like an astronaut, I think, even though I am terrified of heights and planes. So I don't know where I got that idea. But yeah, acting was there. That's the typical one too. Probably an author wasn't really something I thought about until maybe high school, or just right after high school when I started writing. I had an idea for my first book, which is my Enigma Black trilogy, which is the ones that I really don't like peddle anymore because I don't write
Mm,
that genre. And also they were my first book, so they're not up to my standards now. And I've kind of grown a lot, I would like to think, in the over, I don't know, 12, 13 years since I've written them. But yeah, it was, I don't know. I think when I started writing, it was just for fun. It wasn't for
yeah.
like anything serious. And then I found out, because I think around the time I wrote Enigma Black is around the time when, like, Kindle, people were putting books on Amazon and selling them. And I'm like, oh, well, if you're writing this, maybe you can make some money off of it. That'd be great. So that's kind of when I started. And it wasn't really anything serious until probably, oh gosh, 2018, 2019, when I
Right.
really sat down and thought, take this a little more seriously than I have been, and that's kind of what I've been doing, and kind of forcing myself to write every day and forcing myself to kind of work on something, and here we are. So
Yeah.
hopefully it actually goes into something that's full time at some point.
Yeah, that would be nice. I know that that's the dream of almost everybody who does this. At
Hmm. Yeah.
some fashion or another. And so now so you said like when did you start writing? It was like like 2018, 2019, or was it even
Yeah,
before
it
that?
was probably well, I wrote my first book when I was in fifth grade.
Oh,
Like, literally writing it in a notebook and illustrating it and things like that. So if you want to say when I first started, I mean, that would be for fifth grade. But
right.
when I actually went down and typed out a novel, that would be 2011-ish, 2012. Yeah, around there. Maybe even 2010 is maybe when I started. I don't know, somewhere around there.
Okay. Yeah, I think I started writing my first book in 2014, and then I published it in
Okay.
2016, and then kind of took a long break after that because I thought,
Right.
okay, I wrote my
Right.
book, and then I wrote another book a while, like something, yeah.
Yeah, that's how that goes.
Um, no, I mean, besides writing, I was like, you say your work as a paralegal, and you're an author. Um, do you have any hobbies that you do like when you're not, you know, doing all that stuff?
Oh boy, you would think I would. Right now my hobbies are my children because they take up the other part of my time. But I do, on the side, I also am training a bloodhound to do search and rescue, which is kind of, real close to me because when my mom went missing, I met this great search and rescue team who kind of took me under their wing. And, having Maggie has been kind of therapeutic, the bloodhound, and training her and to kind of maybe one day use her in the actual field to help a family like the way I was helped, although you really don't want that to happen because that means someone's missing. But to be able to do some good back in that way, and to I just, I don't know. That's more of it's kind of it's a hobby, but it's also kind of like a passion slash second job for me now
Right.
too. But yeah, yeah, search and rescue takes up a lot of my time outside of writing and my kids.
I hear you. Yeah. Yeah. I'm. I have my cats too, and
Mhm.
I actually I enjoy watching sports and um, just like
Oh yeah, well, sports there too. I forgot about the Lions. How do I forget
Oh,
about the
that's right. Yeah,
Lions? For God's sake.
I've seen you a couple times. I've seen you at Ford Field or a picture at Ford Field.
Yeah, well,
Yes.
we actually got half season tickets this year. And half, I mean, like one of my husband's friends, had season tickets, and unfortunately, he's been diagnosed with cancer, and he wanted to sell off half of
Oh,
his, for extra money. So we bought the other half of his season tickets. So yeah, we'll be hitting up the Lions a lot more this year.
nice. Yeah, I
Yeah,
hope they can bounce back. You know, they had
yeah.
quite
Oh,
the
I
season.
think so. He will. I'm hopeful.
Yeah. Yeah, you mentioned the search and rescue thing is kind of like your passion project. You know, is there like a charity or any type of organization that you work with?
So the organization that I work for or work with, it's all volunteer. They don't take money from anybody. This is all nonprofit, but they will accept donations. If anybody ever wants to donate to them, they would greatly appreciate it. It's called Southern Michigan Search and Response. That's, if you do Google that, you'll come up with their page.
Right.
Um, and so yeah, that I mean, yeah, like I said, they don't. When my mom went missing, and I got a whole bunch of people that telling me about, oh, you should do this, you should do that, and my mind was going a mile a minute. These people kind of reached out to me, and I thought at first they were kind of like trying to take advantage of the situation, or like that they were going to charge me an arm and a leg, But it was free of charge. And they worked tirelessly to try to bring her home. And these are genuinely good people, and there's plenty of organizations like them in the state of Michigan and elsewhere. But that's my organization, is Southern Michigan Search and Response.
Gotcha. Yeah, and yeah, I mean, in addition to NAMI, I mean, I support American Diabetes Association. My mother's been a lifelong diabetic, and you know, it's yeah, but yeah, that's a wonderful cause to you know. Okay, just um, a couple of your favorite things, like favorite candy, favorite foods, favorite seasons.
Oh, okay. Wow, that's a hard one. Candy. Oh gosh, depends on what I'm in the mood for. I do like peanut butter, so I'll go with maybe Reese's, but
Oh,
like peanut butter cups, not like the actual little circular candies. I don't really
okay.
care for those, but like those. I like M&Ms. Caramel bars I usually like, although I kind of ate so many of those that I'm kind of sick of them now, but they're still good. Favorite season? Favorite season is fall. Um, because falls in Michigan are really pretty. And I
Yeah.
mean, fall and spring are kind of tied, but I think fall has less tornadoes, so we'll go with that one.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I've heard about the tornadoes, and it's yeah that's I
Michigan's become like Tornado Alley, I swear to God. Like,
yeah
this
I
is
don't know how that
insane the
happened.
last
Like
couple of
and
years.
I've in talking with Samantha and with you, and I saw, you had a little bit of damage last year, and I know Samantha unfortunately had
A
the
lot of
tree
bit of
fall on
damage.
her
We have
house.
like no trees in our yard anymore. We have like maybe two that can fall. And I'm like, well, at least there's the bright spot right there because none of them can fall on our house.
Yeah, that thankfully, um, but yeah. So, um, you know, talking about some of your favorite things. Obviously, you're I see a lot of books behind you, so you're an avid reader. Um,
Yeah. Yep.
what was the last book that you would say you would give 5 stars?
God, it's been so long. Oh my gosh. I haven't read much this year because I've just been focusing on writing and been really busy. Last book I would give 5 stars. God. Um, I did read an indie book called Here Be Dragons by a friend of mine named, I'm gonna mispronounce this because it's pronounced a different way, but it's like Adelie, that's what it's spelled like, last name Weber.
Oh yes,
That was pretty good. Yeah, that was pretty good. I enjoyed that story. I am trying to get back into reading, and it's not. I'm starting the Hunger Games, the new one. What's that one called? And what I've read is really good. The Haymitch's story. I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's called. But that one I'm reading. Um, trying to, and I think everybody I've talked to who has read that is basically five-starred that book. So I'm thinking I'll probably file or follow suit when I actually finish it.
Gotcha.
Oh.
Yeah. And just a brief reminder, we are giving away. Got it down here. We're giving away a copy of this one, this Heart to Heart, and we're going to talk about this in a minute. This fabulous rom com, which is the precursor to Sarah's latest. I don't know I don't know why I always like I know it's primed and stripped. I just for some reason I want to say primed, but I know that's not correct.
Oh, I
It's
thought
like
you were gonna
my
say pimped. I'm
no,
like, people
well
want to say
that's
pimped.
I
I'm
don't
like,
know for some reason
whatever.
my brain wants to say primed instead of primed. But
And I'm just gonna say, you don't have to read Heart to Heart to read Prim to Strip. I'll just throw that out there. I mean, yes, they're in a series, but they're kind of a series of stand. It'll be a series of standalones.
gotcha. Okay, yeah, that works. So if you want the Heart to Heart, drop a heart in the comments. Any color will do. So yeah. So no, yeah. Why don't you tell us? I mean, obviously you have Heart to Heart and you have Print and Strip, and you had another series before that. I think.
So that was my second chance romance series. It was more of a duology because it was just like two books. Because I was only ever intending to write the one, but then the people that read it liked the friend, one of the side characters, so much that they wanted another book. So I wrote that book based on her. And that's One Time Stand Still and When Stars Collide. Like I said, it's just two books. It really can't really call it a series, but it's just two books, and those were my two that I would say that when I first began getting serious with writing. So
Nice.
they're, I think When Time Stands Still was published in 2018, and When Stars Collide was published in 2020.
Right. And then I didn't get a chance to read those yet, but I did read Heart to Heart, and it's I I like the whole rom com, with the mixing with the rom com with the reality show angle, and it's just I really enjoyed that. So, you know can you tell us a little bit about what went into that? Like what was your thought process? I guess.
Not really a thought process, honestly. It's just I think I thought, wouldn't it be kind of cool to do a story based on The Bachelor, because The Bachelor, I used to like watching The Bachelor, but then it just got more and more ridiculous as the series it went on. So I'm like, writing a book, but you could really almost put virtually anything in it because The Bachelor is just so out there. So I'm like, well, and I like writing funny books because that's, people seem to like those the best when for me. So I just thought, let's combine and make it a funny, kind of almost satirical look at The Bachelor. And that's just kind of how it went. I did, while I was writing it though, when another book came out that was kind of similar. So I was like, oh crap, maybe I need to kind of like stalled me out a little bit. And that was One to Watch, which is a great, great book if anybody's ever read it. Um, but I don't know. I just always had a thing, used to have a thing with watching The Bachelor, and I thought it'd be a great combo. So, and then, that kind of took off from to do other reality shows too. Because, I spend way too much time in front of the TV apparently.
Uh, nah, I wouldn't know anything about that. There are a lot of days where I'd rather just watch TV than write. But so now so so you have your second chance romance, and you have your rom coms, and that's do I dare ask which one is your favorite, or is that like choosing which child is your favorite?
Oh God, that's really hard because they're both like all of them are like in their own way, it's kind of special in different ways. My favorite one, God, I don't know. I'm gonna say probably it's gonna be between Prim to Stripped and When Time Stands Still, I would say. And they're
Hmm.
both very different stories, so it's really hard
Yeah.
to say why. I mean, When Time Stands Still is just more has emotional depth to it that none of my other books have. But when Prim to Stripped, I mean, I really enjoyed the character of Bianca, even though she's kind of the villain in One Time, or excuse me, in Heart to Heart. And I like the Tarzan aspect of the book. So that's kind of why it was fun to write. I think if you're having fun while you're writing, that's a good sign.
Yes, yeah, that is the primary goal. I think is
Hmm.
it should be fun. Um, normally we'd ask people where they get the inspiration to for their books, but obviously yours is, um, I guess it's safe to say it's inspired by romance, rom com, reality show, any, you know, just you know, I guess. But what am I trying to say? um, yeah. Well, where did was that your primary inspiration for it, or was there something else?
What was primary, like what, Tarzan or what the?
Yeah, like you have one is a Tarzan, one is the Bachelor, and like is it,
Mhm.
is it something that just hits you and you're like, oh, I should write a book about that.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, that's how it Heart to Heart went. Prentice Drift was more along the lines of a really goofy, dumb TikTok I did that went like semi-viral, and because the goofy, dumb ones always do, and like the ones that you want to never have gained traction. So, and people really responded to it. Was a Tarzan one, and people really responded to it. I'm like, well, people like Tarzan this much, and I like I mean, I've never had anything against Tarzan, and actually, I watched a couple of the movies, when I was writing the book, and now I'd say I'm probably a decent fan of Tarzan, but like I can see why people responded to it the way they did. But yeah, no, that was mainly because of a TikTok thing, and I thought to myself, what if I'm gonna stay on this reality TV show angle? It'd be really easy to incorporate a Tarzan kind of element into the show like Naked and Afraid, which is what Proof the
Ah,
Stripped is based around. I mean, that would be super easy to do because, just that part they be in the jungle and, and then they're both naked. So there's the sexual tension and the jokes kind of write themselves on that one, you know?
right, right.
So
Now, you said your favorite character was Bianca.
I don't know. Overall of my series, I don't think she's my favorite. My favorite's probably Mina from When Time Stands Still, When Stars Collide, just of her humor. Um, but like, Bianca's up there. She's up there.
Gotcha.
So,
Do you have a least favorite?
God. Um, I don't want to say my least favorite. Gosh. I don't know because I think I could like all of them in some way, all of my main ones in some way. Obviously, they're like the secondary characters that I'm just like, but
Right.
I'm not as emotionally attached to them to really say, not like the secondary as in like, I'm talking like just background. Like in Heart to Heart, there's like 20 some odd contestants,
That that's true.
Obviously, I'm getting rid of them week by week. So I'm not really bonding with those characters as much.
Right.
So I would probably have to say one of those throwaway characters.
Gotcha.
Um,
Yeah, that's
so
an interesting thing. Yeah, that's I never really thought about it. Like if it's a secondary character, you don't really invest so much.
you don't have a whole lot of emotional like investment in them. It's just kind of like, or if they're just there to serve one purpose, it's like, and they serve it and they're done. You're just, you know,
Yeah, yeah, I gotcha. So now and you have obviously you had the first two books were a series, and now you have in reality, which is are not it's a series, but you can read them as standalones. So it's a now is it
right.
do you prefer writing a standalone, or do you like a do you see yourself writing like a series where down the line where you need to read the first one and then the second one and so on?
I don't think I ever, well, I shouldn't say that. In the immediate future, I don't see myself as writing a series that where you have to read all of the books. I mean, that can change in a couple of years. You just never know. But I see myself. I personally like the standalone better, just because you can just pick up wherever you want, whichever one sounds the most interesting, and you read that one, and then if you like it, go continue with your other series. And I see myself as far as standalones. I don't know if I'll write another standalone on it. Honestly, I don't know if I will. I might, but I think series for an indie author is the way to go. That's my personal opinion. I
Right.
mean, other
Yeah.
people might disagree.
Yeah. No, I think. Yeah, I've seen that. It's people get hooked on that first book and they need to have the second one and so on. It's I haven't written the series. It's kind of like a series of standalones in the same universe. But
Mhm.
yeah, I
Yeah,
don't know.
it's in the same universe though. I mean, it's kind of like one, you know.
Right,
You can market it as such in a way.
right. Um, Now, how do you handle this is kind of a tricky question because but I get a lot of the same answer all the time with this one. How do you handle the author life balance?
It's pure chaos.
I
I don't handle it well.
Yeah,
There is
you're not alone.
no balance really. I between having a full-time job and kids and search and rescue, I fit writing in whenever I can. And I make it a point every night. And last night I kind of conked out after writing like a sentence, but it is what it is. But
Mm.
I try to make a point of writing something every night. I put like an arbitrary word count I like to get to. Usually I'd like to do 1,000 words a night. Do I get to 1,000 words a night? Hardly, but I get somewhere around there usually. Um, so yeah, that's what I do to try to push, push, and push. But there's really no, I haven't found a balance. I have not. It's either, it's just all over the place. Um, if somebody knows how to balance everything, God, please just send me a DM. Tell me because I haven't figured
Yeah.
it out
Uh, I
yet.
haven't figured it out yet either. I'm either all in or all out. At times it's
Yeah,
like it's
yeah.
I have to write or it's just like ugh, yeah.
Hmm.
I admire the people such as yourself and others who can say I'm gonna try to write X amount per night, per day per night, and just and slowly steadily move along.
Hmm.
So it's
The problem with that though is like, I don't know, for me, like I'll forget what I'm writing at night, like the night the next night, or like I'll forget what I did 2 chapters before. So I wish I could just do like these big sprints where like everything is like right there in my fresh in my head. So that's a huge problem. Because when I'm writing at like 12, 1 o'clock in the morning, I'm tired after working a freaking work day.
yeah.
So like, yeah, I mean, sometimes I'll remember, sometimes I won't, and sometimes I have to go back and change things because I didn't remember when or I reset something, or I don't know. Yeah, it can really bite you in the butt. They'll do it the way that I'm doing it. Sometimes it's better just to, if you can manage it, just to do like a longer sprints than I do, just so it's just right there. You can
Yeah,
get a
no,
complete thought out, and then
yep.
yeah.
I understand. Yeah, because I uh, I work I work full time and then I come home. It's sometimes work is stressful and I just want to come home and relax and it's
Hmm.
hard to bring myself up and try to write something and actually I haven't to be honest I haven't written anything in a while. It's just I need a mental break. You know, so
Yeah,
that's
that's important.
yeah.
Mental health is important.
Yes. Um, what do you enjoy the most about writing, and conversely, what do you like the least?
I enjoy just being able to get thoughts out and just get like, I like the humorous stuff. I don't know. I like just telling a story. I like telling a love story in particular because romance is my thing, and I like creating characters, and I mean, I think it's just the whole romance aspect is what I like the most. What I like the least is, I don't know, editing.
Oh,
I'm not a fan of editing. Uh, Gosh, I don't know. I think what I like the least is the imposter syndrome that comes with being a writer. The doubt
mm.
that you have in yourself, because that it happens to everybody. And I think that sometimes it can take some of the fun away from it, and I don't like that. But as far as actual writing, there's really not a whole lot I don't like about it.
That's true. Yeah, it's yeah, yeah. I would have to agree. It's you're writing. It's that whole creating something. Just it feels like it's there is something. I can't even think of where I'm an author and I can't think of the right words. But yeah, it's fulfilling when you create a whole alternate universe,
Hmm.
so to speak. You know.
Yeah. Then when you put the end at the end, it's like, oh my God, I just did an entire book. Even though you may have 10 books and you're still like, oh my God, I just wrote a book. You know?
Right, right.
So yeah, it's like it's each and every time it feels like an accomplishment because it is an accomplishment.
It is, yes. Now, are you a plotter or a pantser or a plantser?
I couldn't plot to save my life. And that really is not a good thing. I would say if you're gonna do something, this be a platter, because being a pantser is just the whole kind of mess and chaos that you really don't want to have. But I manage it. I don't know how, but I manage it.
Yeah, I usually start with an outline and then somewhere along the way it's wait, how did we get
Oh,
from
that
here?
outline goes away.
This doesn't match this. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Well, I'll write, I won't do an outline, but sometimes I'll put like a list of just a list of things I want to have happen throughout the book, but
Hmm.
no, and they don't plot them out. Just I want to get to this, I want to get to that, I want to get to that. How we get there, I don't know,
Right.
but we're gonna get there. So,
That's fair. Yeah, that seems like it's that sounds like a doable solution. You know,
hmm.
it's like
But also, if you're a plotter, I've heard you can write faster, and so that's the upside of plotting as well too. I've heard this.
yeah,
I don't know if
I've
it's true because I'm a
you
plotter.
know yeah, sometimes like like with Eddie the Legend I had like A B C D E F G, and I just for some reason it just happened, and with my other
Hmm.
books it was more along the lines of, well, what do I do, how do I get here? And
Yeah. Yeah, and sometimes the brain just shuts off when you're trying to think how you get there.
yeah. um, do you have any specific routines, like you need a beverage, you need music, lighting?
I used to write solely with music, and I haven't. Usually now, I do need some sort of, well, I guess not need it, but I usually have some sort of background noise, like a TV. The TV's usually on when I write. And, I guess beverage, like I'm fine. Well, I have like tea, sometimes pop. I don't know. I mean, yeah, it would be nice every once in a while, but my I usually do take breaks while I'm writing too. So if I need to, I'll go get something to drink. But do I have to have something next to me? No. So yeah, I don't really have a full on routine, but it's kind of fits myself because it's just a whole lot of mess and chaos. So you know, it's how I function.
Yep.
What can I say?
You said pop as opposed to soda, or
Yes, yes. Well, that's Michigan. Well, not quite a Michigan thing, but a
oh,
lot of us in Michigan say pop. And actually, I used to date a guy in Pennsylvania, and when I whipped that word out, he was like, "What in the hell did you just say?" Like, I don't even
yeah.
know. I'm like, how do you not know that
I
word? We're only like
I've
600 miles apart.
I've seen a map at random parts points in my life where it's like if you live in the Northeast you say soda, if you live in the South you say Coke, regardless if it's a
Hmm.
Pepsi or whatever it is, and then
That's
over
weird.
here you say pop, and over here you say, I don't know, whatever you say. It's
Well, try getting a Pepsi in the South. It's almost like impossible. Like when we're down in Florida, I'm like, I wanted a Pepsi. I don't really care for Coke, but that's all anybody carries down there.
oh
Like, come
yeah,
on.
yeah, because Coke is was it they're from Atlanta, right?
Yeah, they're from Georgia. Yep, yep, yep. Yeah, so I was like, oh man. But so I can understand why they call it a Coke down there, but geez, oh Pete. I just don't pop's not like I don't think it's a weird word. It's soda pop. I mean, just you
Right.
took one word, we took the other word. So what
That's true. Yeah. So, um, nowadays, most of the people that we know are indie publishers. Some have done trad. Um, was that something that ever crossed your mind when you were first writing, or even now?
Yeah, well, when I first started writing, I did try to trad pub my that the first trilogy or the first book in that trilogy that I wrote, which was not ready to be trad pub. I mean, come on, let's It was like my first ever book, and I did query, and I did have an agent reach out to me for like a portion of it, and I sent it, and it just wasn't ready, and it wasn't going to be Trad Pub ever.
Right.
But so after that, when I started uh, publishing on Amazon, I just like, I'm like, why? I can just get this done and get a published. And, you see so many indie authors just having success that way. Like, and I wouldn't say the easy route. And I hate it when people say it's the easy route, but it's just like, you don't have like a gatekeeper. You can just make your own, write the books you want. You can put them out when you want to. You can
Right.
design things the way you want. That. So yeah, no, I kind of lost interest in doing trad after that.
Yeah, I did a couple queries the first time, and even the second time around. But then once I, you know, came on to book talk and met everybody, I realized it's that's maybe not the best way if you want to maintain your creative freedom and just like I said, you can release it whenever you want. You don't have to
Right.
change anything you don't want changed. It's interesting. Um, do you have how many works in progress do you have currently?
I can only do one at a time. I thought maybe I could get two around this time around, but my brain is just not letting me do that. So I have one that I'm working on right now. It's actually a dark rom-com. So
Oh,
it's a lot. I want to say it's kind of like Lights Out meets The Hating Game. So I don't know if
oh,
you're familiar with which either one of those, but it's definitely a rom-com. It's a mass stalker romance. And it's interesting because the idea actually came to me when I was doing Smash Slash Author Bash. We
oh
She
yeah.
made us go around the all the authors kind of went around and just pitched an idea real quick, and that idea just came to my head like that. And I just ran. I'm like, that's actually not half bad. The actual premise of it. I'm like, well, maybe we'll do this. And so here we are doing this.
Huh. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. It's funny. Your ideas just come from you never know. You never know.
hmm
Um, Sometimes we with some of our either main characters or supporting characters, we either subconsciously or otherwise may insert pieces of ourselves into the books. Like maybe our main characters have the same interests as we do, or they like the same foods. Is that something that you've found that you've done? You know.
oh yeah, definitely. And when Stars Collide, I had Mina has melanoma.
Mm.
Had melanoma. Um, there's a lot of aspects in Elle's relationship that I had with former relationship and when time stands still.
Right.
In Heart to Heart, the asshole ex-boyfriend is a lot like my asshole ex-husband. There's a lot of things you kind of incorporate.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I mean, I'm always drawing from real life in some way. I mean, sometimes it's more subtle than others, but
Yes.
yeah, I do. I draw.
Um, any authors who uh, have inspired you, people who have either inspired you to start writing to begin with, and others that who you admire now, like would you care like this like who are some of the authors who have inspired you?
Um, I like Sally Thorne. She writes a lot of rom-coms. Hating Game, for example. I like, let's see, Lindsay. Oh shoot, now I'm gonna draw a blank because I'm in an interview. Oh, Kelk, Lindsay Kelk. That's her name, Lindsay Kelk. She does rom-coms and she's just hilarious. There's another indie author who stopped writing because of online bullying, which was very unfortunate
Oh,
because her books were fabulous. They're amazing books and funny, so funny. Lucy, oh shit. Lucy, it's bad. I have a couple of her books back here. Lucy starts with a W. Now I can't think of it, but it's her first name's Lucy. And she wrote Peanut and Shortcake are her books, and they are hilarious. I mean, just the humor is just spot on. But yeah, I would say that definitely they were kind of inspirations behind me getting into the rom-com aspects of what I'm doing now. And gosh, it started me, I don't really know, honestly. Uh, Gosh. I did when I read in high school. I read *The Fountainhead* by Ayn Rand because I
Uh-huh.
wanted to try to get a scholarship. I didn't get the scholarship, but I ended up loving the book. So there's that. So I think a little bit. I think like every book I've read in some way has kind of helped me to be where I'm at now because, I see, oh, I like this writing style, or I like
Hmm.
how they said this, or I like how they did that, or I like this plot, or I like this, or this, things like that.
Right.
I think in a way I carry a little bit of everything that everybody that I've read with me.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, it's it's funny because I actually wanted to with core memories. I wanted to not do an HEA because I started reading Samantha Moran's books, and she believes that happily ever after is overrated,
Mhm.
and she was the one who
Right.
actually said to me, because I spilled the beans. I was like, well, it's not going to be an HEA. She's like, you can't do that. It's a romance. Well, well, I okay. So
Right. You kind of need to have an HEA in a romance because people will come for you with knives and pitchforks and all that good stuff, You
yes,
kind of need to have an HEA in a romance.
yes. That's pretty much what.
If you don't, you really need to have a content warning in the front that says that,
Yeah.
you're
Well,
not
I
good about it.
decided,
It's not good for you.
I took her advice.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's important in a romance.
yes,
Because, a lot of women are reading romance to escape and they don't want to be depressed at the end of it,
that is true. Yeah.
Men read romance too. I should just say just women, but
Right, right. So, oh, where did I where did I go up? Oh, here we go. Sorry, I have a little cheat sheet and I missed it. I think I scrolled too
no,
far.
it's all right.
We're doing we're kind of breezing through everything this evening, and any advice that you would give unpublished authors and people who hope to become authors?
Do it because you like doing it, right? Because you love it. Don't write because you think you're going to get rich because you might, but don't do it just for that reason. Do it because if you do it just for that reason, it's going to show in your work. If you aren't passionate about what you're doing, it's going to show in your work. Um, do it because you want to and be patient, build a social media, and understand that slow growth is still growth. Even if you're not an overnight success, or even if 10 years down the road, you're still not a success. Like, don't compare yourself to other people
Right.
because, as they say, comparison is the thief of joy.
Yes.
And it's very easy if you start comparing yourself to give up, and then you'll never be where you want to be because you gave up. So that's my thing.
That is
So
good advice. Yeah. The one thing I that really strikes that really hits home with me is um, oh, I just lost it. I know that sounds
yeah, that's
horrible.
on my brain.
My I had a but no, yeah, when right, you have to be passionate about what you write because otherwise it'll show in your work.
Hmm.
And actually that was something that that I was told not too long ago. It's when um, I wanted to, I thought maybe I could, start writing a little bit more darker romance, and this person who was also an author and a friend, said, you know, you your best work is, is core memories is not really. I wouldn't consider your best work. I would, when I read any of the legends, that was I felt that one. Core memories. It was like and it was something that I wanted to write because it was almost like I had to prove to myself that I wrote it, that I could do it.
Hmm.
But with Eddie, and even being made before that, it was, she read those and it was like, yes, this is the real Brian Scala. So, yeah,
Yeah.
it's yeah, people can tell when you're writing it just for when your heart and soul is into it. So,
Hmm. Yep,
yeah,
definitely. So
yeah,
that's why I'm sticking to romance. I figure I can make it work.
yeah,
Even, my thing I write in dark romance, it's still diet dark romance. It's not like hardcore dark romance.
right.
I'm not pitch black by any means, and I will never be pitch black, I don't think. I don't think I can make that quite that leap. But I can do rom-coms and I can do darker themes. So there's that.
Yes, yeah, and I've seen there's there are a couple authors out there who I see them they can genre hop like nobody's
Hmm.
business. Seems like they can write a rom com, they can write a horror, they can write a dark fantasy, they can just write even sci-fi, and it's just like how do they do that? Like that's
Right.
it's but it takes a special that it, it takes something special to be able to do all that. Like it's but you have to
Hmm.
feel it. And
Right. And they may have an interest in all of that too. I think
right,
having an interest, a genuine interest in what you're writing is big, as opposed to I'm going to write this so I can make money, or I'm going to write that. I mean, you have to have a genuine interest. I mean,
yeah,
then you can probably genre hop a lot easier if what you're writing is interesting to you, and because a lot of people have different interests in the whole kinds of things, romance. I mean, they could be like westerns, they could like, whatever, they could like space operas, who knows? I
right,
mean, people have multifaceted and have different interests. So,
true.
so I think that's how they can do it. But, I mean, right now I'm doing rom-coms. Who's to say in 10 years I won't be doing, something a little bit different, or not even rom-coms, maybe more, just contemporary romance, or just I don't know. I probably never do sci-fi, but but we'll see. Maybe
Hey,
someday.
right. You never know. Yeah, it's just you go where the music takes you.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
So
And your interests can change over time.
yep, absolutely. Well, and if you're here and if you're interested in a copy of this, drop a heart in down in the comments. So and and take it from me, that book is well worth it.
Yeah, it's a fun one. I'll say that. If I can have fun and laugh while I'm writing, that's a plus.
Yes. So you and so we're going to get into some fun questions here before we start to wrap things up. Um, Evie likes to ask this one. Um, Supposedly there's a correct answer, but I'm not.
Hmm.
I don't know about that. What is your favorite dinosaur?
What does she have her favorite one? And it's you got to say hers. Why do I want to say T-Rex? Because she has those tiny hands. I don't know. I think I don't know, because I like the Brontosaurus because there just seems like a giant golden retriever. But I also like Velociraptors because they're just cool.
Yeah,
So I don't know,
yeah.
one of those two.
I think that's her
It's
favorite.
probably both wrong.
Yeah, no, mine is T Rex because my wife's nickname is T Rex because her arms are
Oh,
short.
nice, nice. Why? Which why is her nickname T-Rex?
Oh, but because her
So do I
arm.
want to know why?
Oh, but because her arms are short. You know,
Oh, okay.
yeah. I mean, like not like egregiously short. They're just like shorter than most people. It's
Then
like
what she would like.
yeah. Um, if you could live anywhere, real or fictional, where would it be?
Fictional. I would live in Scotland during the Outlander times and try to find Jamie Fraser. That would be my dream right there.
Aha.
Like the 1700s, though it would really suck living in those times, but I think I could manage with him.
Yeah, I don't know. With all the layers and the corsets, I mean,
Hmm.
and
And the no electricity thing and
oh,
the
that's
no
true.
indoor plumbing thing. Yeah, that would not
Oh,
be great.
that too. That would be a little bit cumbersome.
Yeah,
Um, what is the most daring thing you've ever done?
gosh. Oh, yikes. I mean, I would say probably motherhood because you just never know what you're going to get on that. I mean, I still don't know what I'm going to get. I'm already 18 years into it. I mean, it's just, you really do take a gamble when you become a mom because it just, I
Mm.
mean, with kids, it's just, I mean, it's great. It's the greatest thing, but like, you just never know. I mean, like, my kids surprise me on the daily, it's both hard and it's both rewarding, and it's, it's just, so I would say it's a huge gamble just because of the unknown with children, and how being a parent, how am I, what's it going to be like as a parent, and if I'm going to make mistakes, and so yeah, I think it continues to be a huge gamble every single day.
That's yeah. That is. That, I can understand that. Yeah, it's but yeah, I don't think there's yeah. I mean, there. I'm sure everybody makes mistakes along the way, but it's I'm sure you've done quite well. You know,
Oh, we're trying.
18 years in.
It's a struggle.
Now is she going to college?
He's at MSU, yeah, yep,
Oh,
Michigan
that's
State
right.
University.
That's right.
Hmm. Yep.
What's your favorite ice cream flavor?
Oof. When I was younger, it was mint chocolate chip.
Mhm.
Now it kind of like changes. Like my it's really weird. Like I'll get like a like kind of like a craving for something. I think right now I would say strawberry, but
Okay.
I've also enjoy cookie dough, I enjoy cake batter. It all depends.
Yeah.
Like if I had a gun to my head and said you could pick an ice cream cone flavor right now, I would probably say strawberry though.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think mine would be cookie dough. But yeah, when I was younger, it was mint chocolate chip. It's
I think
just
it's everybody's when they're younger,
yeah,
honestly. Like,
it's like chocolate chip and minty, and it's green, and it's like ooh.
yeah, exactly. Yep, yep. What's not to love about that?
Um, what inanimate object would be the most annoying if it started playing loud, upbeat music?
Oh my God. Loud, upbeat music. Like what song?
Oh boy, I don't know. Um, I don't know, like
Like
a
repeatedly the same song or like a bunch of different
no,
songs?
no, just like a like if like if your toaster started playing like Earth, Wind and Fire or something, whatever, I don't know, or something
God,
from our
I don't
century.
know. An inanimate object. What would be the most annoying? I don't know. Maybe my laptop, if I wanted to get it to stop,
Ah,
that would probably be annoying. I
that's
mean,
true.
that or my phone, especially if I'm out in public, loud
Yes,
music would be, so
yeah,
yeah.
I've heard
Or my car, or
yes, that's true too. Yeah, I've heard people say their pillows. I've
oh, that's a good one.
yeah,
That's a good
and
one.
there have been
Yep.
some other adult toys, perhaps. If we play the wrong song, it might not it might get you out of the
That
mood.
would kill the mood there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What would you use to survive the zombie apocalypse?
Wouldn't survive. I'd die. I don't know. I'd probably befriend people who know what the hell they're doing,
Mm.
is how I would survive. Yeah, because I have zero survival skills over here. I'd probably stay inside a lot. Let's go with that. Not
Yeah,
any different than what I do now.
yeah, I think I'm with you on that one. I wouldn't know what to do. Just
Hmm.
pray they don't come for me.
Yeah, exactly. Like just barricade myself in and hope to God I can. I don't know. I don't know. That's yeah. I'd have to survive using others for sure
Yeah.
because there's zero skills over here.
If you were trapped on a deserted island or a foxhole, um, who's the one person you'd want with you?
Oh, geez. Again, I mean variables for how long? Forever?
Well, I
For
guess,
like
um, yeah,
uh,
for a prolonged period of time, let's say,
a long period of
like
time.
if it were Castaway, for example.
Gotcha. Yeah, sir. Probably my husband, just because I know, I think he'd be able to utilize the things on the island better than me, and I would say him probably just for that reason. Yeah, either that or Chris Hemsworth, one of the two.
Not a bad choice. I'm sure. Yeah, I don't know what his skill set is, but can't be that bad.
Right, right. I mean, he is Thor, so maybe he's really strong. Who knows?
That's true. Yes, yes. Just one last time, anybody who wants to grab a copy of Heart to Heart by Sara Furlong Burr, drop a heart in the comments. And so just a couple more things. Where can we find you this year? What events do you have planned?
Next month I will be in Green Bay at Packing the Readers
Ah,
on June. Oh shoot, it's like Father's Day weekend. I think it's like June 13, 14, and then because it's Sunday we don't do anything. So I think it's like the 13th, 14th in Green Bay, and then the following month I will be at Sinful Signings in Roanoke, and you probably know the dates because I don't remember what dates are
that
on that one, but
that would
it's
be July
like the
19th and 20th.
July 19th and 20th. Okay.
Yes.
So that's where I'll be in July. And
Nice.
then in October, like the first weekend in October, I think it's like the 4th. Be wrong there. But I'll be at Smash Slash Author Bash
Nice.
in South Bend, Indiana. And then I am done, I think, after that this year. And then next year, well, I don't even know what I don't really have like signed up for like maybe 1 or 2 next year so far.
Gotcha.
So yeah, that's where I'll be. Green Bay next stop, and then Roanoke, the one right after that.
Very nice. Yes, and I look forward to seeing you at Sinful. And
Yeah, you too.
yeah,
You too.
yeah. So I'm curious, like how are things going with Smash Slash? I know I was supposed to go to that one last year, and things kind of
It's a brand new event.
yeah.
So she's trying, she's doing a lot more marketing this year. It was fun last year. I got to meet, some other authors. The attendance was, it's the
Yeah,
first
for
time.
a first year, it's a
So
little yeah,
first year, she's hopefully going to build it more and more every year.
right,
I mean, I think the point is, some readers show up. I sold a couple books and I had fun.
great. Yeah,
I
that's
find,
true.
and
Yeah,
for me, I live in Michigan. This is Indiana, so it's not like I didn't need to get a hotel room and all that stuff. So it was
very
fine.
true. Yeah, yeah, no, and yeah, it's yeah, and I hope it sounds like she has a lot more authors attending this year, and things are picking up.
Yeah, and she's got a marketing team. Well, I think someone helping her with marketing. So yeah,
Yes,
I think she's gonna do better this year.
absolutely.
Yeah.
That's great to hear.
Yeah. Yeah. So she has she's has a lot of good intentions, and it's a really I think it could be a really great event.
Yes,
It just has to find its footing a little bit more, and then I think it'll grow.
absolutely. So, where can we find you online?
I am on online. Let's see, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Threads. It's all basically author Sara Furlong Burr, my
Mm-hmm.
handles. Um, oh gosh, probably others. I mean, I have a Discord that I don't use because I don't know how to use it. Let's put it this way. But I think Instagram's kind of like my favorite one, my favorite mode. And then TikTok is kind of like, I feel like I'm on it because I feel like I have to be.
Yeah,
I'm not a fan of TikTok.
I know what you mean too. Yeah, yeah. TikTok. It's lately I've been more of a voyeur and not much into the content. You know,
Hmm.
yeah.
Right. Me too.
TikTok is kind of hit or miss. It's like whenever I try to talk about books or authors, I get zero, views and engagement. Or no, I shouldn't
hmm
say no engagement, but the views are kind of down. But whenever I talk about random stuff, like you know,
Yeah.
it goes up. So go figure.
Talk about Tarzan, and then you'll get viral. You don't even want it, but you'll get there.
That's true. Yeah, you never know what's gonna what's gonna take off. So
True.
yeah,
Yeah. One of these days, you gotta hope it's one of the books, though. You can't
yeah,
because
that's true. Yeah. Yeah. And speaking of books, I believe Marissa is the big winner of Heart to Heart. So congratulations,
oh,
Marissa.
thanks, Martha.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
yeah. So reach out to Miss Sarah Furlong Burr and find out her details and you know, we'll go from there. So and so we're just about done here, believe it or not. And
Okay.
I'm trying to fix
Yeah,
this.
it sounds like it's still storming outside. I don't even know
Oh
what the
dear.
heck's going on out there. Michigan is like we're getting a little bit of everything. Like
Yeah,
I don't even know. I didn't
Yeah,
know we could get dust storms here.
yeah.
Like,
Where does the dust come from? Like from
I don't
the lake, the beach. Where's
sure.
the beach? Like the beaches. I
Well,
guess
we have beaches. We are surrounded by
that's
beaches, but
that's true.
I
Yeah,
don't think
by
that's where it's coming from because it came from like Chicago and like Indiana, and I'm like, where the hell is this coming from? And why have we never had one before? Like, you know,
hmm.
this
Yeah,
like 2025 is just like all sorts of shit's happening
yeah.
here. It's weird.
I know. Yeah, was it last year we had the smoke from the Canadian wildfires down here?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
right.
We had it here. Yep.
You probably had it there too. Yeah, it's
hmm
and I think they had wildfires in Florida too, which is weird because you would think like
Probably. I mean,
the,
shoot.
the least
Wouldn't
likely.
surprise me.
Yeah, like Florida's warm. It's not dry. How do you start? I mean, I
hmm
suppose anything's possible, but
Right. Yeah. I'm just waiting for the next earthquake here because I feel like we're due for that now.
oh wow, yeah. I felt an earthquake in New York. Was it 2 years ago? Yeah, I think it
Oh,
was.
that would be so
Yeah,
weird. Like
and
we
believe it or
had
not, that
one
was
here.
the second one I felt here in New York. It's like I don't even live in California.
Right. Well, we had one in Michigan like 10 years ago, and it
Oh,
was like decent enough that it was like the entire house shook. And I'm like, it was just like, what the? I mean, I almost thought a plane crashed or something
oh
right next to our house because that's
yeah.
what it felt like. Like the whole thing just shook, and it was the noise was insane. So yeah, it's just I don't know, but I'm sick of these weird weather events. I've had enough. I just kind of want to go back to the boring weather that we used to have here, and
Mm,
nothing's going on, and we don't have dust storms and tornadoes every other week.
yeah. Well, I thank you for braving the elements, and I hope everything goes well. And just just a reminder, a couple of reminders. Next week we are going to be here on Saturday night with Eden Knox.
Oh,
I had something to do next Friday. It's graduation season. My cousin had a graduation party, and it was just easier to move it to Saturday. So next Saturday is Eden Knox. See me as I am, as I mentioned. Pre-order it. As we have 18 amazing authors. Talking. Our theme is invisible and overlooked illnesses, and we have 17 authors providing, including myself, Samantha, and Evie, providing stories where the theme is, an invisible, overlooked illness. And the proceeds still do go to NAMI. And just interest forms for the show, you can find them on our link tree, Linktree/Friday Night Rights. And oh, by the way, this is coming out July 1st, so you can pre-order it. So I think that's all I have for this
will you
evening.
have it at Sinful too?
Yes, we are. All three of
Okay.
us are going to have it at Sinful to sell at our table, and yes, like I said, the proceeds are going towards the National Alliance on Mental Illness.
Nice.
Yes, so we're so excited for it, and we're proud of what we've been able to accomplish with writing it and producing it. So, and we thank everybody for helping support this cause. So, and Sarah, I thank you for your time this evening,
Oh, thank you.
and I look forward to and you can check her out online, and I look forward to seeing you at Sinful, and I wish you all the best.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great night.
Good night. You too.